Welcome back to the Fantasy Endgame Week 18 edition. That's right. The NFL season is almost over. Fantasy football is almost over. I know a lot of you already played for your championship, and it was kind of a weird, abrupt end to the season. For some of you, though, it goes on, and this is your title week. So we're here, as always, to help you. You might already know this, but I'm Pierre, and he's Chris. Now let's get the good news out of the way first. If you've been seeing, the most important news of the week is that Damar Hamlin is now responsive, awake, and breathing on his own. I think the words that they used was a remarkable recovery or something similar to that. So that's the best news. If you saw, of course, we were on Tuesday night, and the Endgame community are ready. I don't know the exact total, but we've already put together, I think it's a few hundred from our community towards the Chasing M Foundation. So we appreciate all of that. To thank you, the community, doing that Gabe Davis jersey giveaway. We'll announce a winner after the weekend because we're going to give you a couple more days to contribute if you want. Join the Discord and post your receipt, and you'll be entered in a drawing. So let's quickly cover that before we get into the news and all the reminders. Yeah, that Bills game didn't happen. And a lot of people are just kind of like, all right, well, what now? And I guess Sleeper said, that's it. The season's over. ESPN was like, no, we'll wait until week 19. And Yahoo was like, we don't know. And I mean, it's just a weird end to the season. And thankfully, it was not a tragic ending as it will turn out. But it's kind of a weird way to end things, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. I mean, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And I think, I don't know, are people still out there like hanging on hope? Because the NFL has said, like, we're not playing the game. It's not happening. The game is not going to get played. It's not going to get resumed. So I don't know. I know in my sleeper leagues, it's over. My Yahoo league ended it. So yeah, I think, but definitely, yeah, weird way to end it, but also very grateful that it sounds like he'll be, at least he will be healthy for the rest of his life. Now, as far as football goes, we don't know, but at least, like you said, not a tragedy.
Right. So, I mean, good news there. The Bills will be playing this week in what is still an important game and going against the Patriots. The Bengals now are going to be in also pretty important game. There's a lot of playoff seeding implications here. The way they're going to do it, again, I'm going to try to get into all that and the proposals and all that. But anyways, we're here to talk fantasy football. We can focus on that now. We are here to help you with your start-sit questions. If you're playing still, it's for a championship. Some of you are in 2-week long championship windows. Some of you, it's this week, and that is it. You know the final week of the season is a strange one, just always, the last week of the season. You got teams that are resting players. We're going to cover that. Think we have a pretty good idea of which teams are, as far as playoff teams, aren't going to be playing most of their stars. And then some guys who are just now suddenly hurt before the final game of the season. So let's get to that. These guys, you can definitely take out of your lineup. They are out, not playing. Start with Justin Fields. Not going to risk it smartly. No reason for the Bears to throw him out there. He is hurt now with that hip. Lamar Jackson still not coming back. Very weird injury situation for him. Don't know what's going on there, but I do know he's not playing. And now Tyler Huntley is on the injury report, questionable. And I saw that they elevated like another quarterback to the roster. They have Anthony Brown, and then now they put a Brett Huntley. Do you think something's up here? Are we now worried that Huntley isn't playing? Do you think we should just kind of stay away from Baltimore?
I think you can definitely stay away from Baltimore. And yeah, you got to be, I guess, worried. I don't think I know a lot of people are back in on Andrews because he had one nice game after like 6 straight horrendous games. Yeah, maybe this will be enough to keep people from starting Andrews now.
I mean, really, as it is, what Baltimore players are you really interested in? For Andrews, for weeks, he really wasn't playable, and we were still playing him because he was Mark Andrews, and he was the tight end 1 last year, but he really wasn't until last week, and now you've got to be worried. So I will say, because some people were asking, what about Mark Andrews versus a guy like Dallas Goedert? And I would say, well, you kind of have to play Andrews now, but if Huntley doesn't even play and they got a 3rd or 4th string quarterback, no way, you can't do it. So keep an eye on that situation. Tua, is out, not playing. It will be Skylar Thompson, the rookie. And he won't be facing Mike White. He'll be facing Joe Flacco. That's right. Skylar Thompson versus Joe Flacco, just what we were looking forward to. Jets have nothing to play for at this point. The Dolphins still trying to cling to their playoff hopes. Yeah. Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson both out for Washington. So you like Jonathan Williams as a nice sleeper pick, because Sam Howell is also, by the way, I guess you can call him out. Carson Wentz is out just because he's just terrible. And Taylor Heineke was like, nah, I'm good. Let the rookie play. Yeah. So is Washington a team that we just completely avoid this week?
I mean, probably, but Jonathan Williams is probably going to get 20 carries in this game. So certainly he has value this week. I mean, not a guy like I feel like you have to start because, last week Brian Robinson got 24 carries against the Browns, and we saw how that turned out. So, but definitely he has value now because he's going to get all the work or most of the work.
Williams is kind of a sneaky sleeper pick. I like him better like in a DFS tournament than like a fantasy championship game. I think the receivers are the ones you definitely have to worry about for Washington. I mean, I don't know. James Conner out. DeAndre Hopkins also out. And Cardinals still rolling with David Blau at quarterback. So proceed with caution there. Oh, by the way, they play San Francisco 49ers on the road. And then Jacoby Myers, I believe he is out. Is that right? Or is he questionable?
I thought I saw questionable.
Questionable. Okay. I thought I saw somewhere that he was not going to play, but I could be wrong. We'll double check on that. Speaking of questionable, Treylon Burks would really like in this game. We didn't do a booms this week because it's week 18, but if we did, I would have put him. But then now you got to worry because he's got a groin issue, and Vrabel said he thinks he's going to play. It's not exactly encouraging. It's a good spot for him, but definitely check his status. Tyler Lockett listed as questionable, but it sounds like he will play, but still listed as questionable. And you never know. He's got banged up now. It's not even the finger, right? It's like his foot or some other issue he's been dealing with. So, Josh Jacobs, also questionable. You kind of have to worry here. I mean, he was fine last week in a really tough matchup. He's the guy you kind of have to wonder if they sit him just because they got nothing to play for. He's heading towards his free agency. Maybe he doesn't want to, take any more wear and tear. So watch that. I would just keep an eye on the Jacobs situation. Did you find out about Myers?
No, I have not seen anything.
Okay. I thought you had something, so just making sure. Not that anybody's depending on Jacoby Myers for their championship. At least hopefully not. All right. In good news, Jalen Hurts looks like he's back. So you don't have to worry about rolling at Gardner Minshew. And Philadelphia's still in play for home field advantage now that they lost 2 in a row under Minshew. So Jalen Hurts is good. Christian McCaffrey, there was some concern about him. He is good. And then Deebo Samuel looks like he's good too. Now, I don't know how much he'll play, but he's going to be active. Derrick Henry, I know some people are asking. Yes, Derrick Henry's definitely playing, and I think he's probably going to get about 42 rush attempts in this game. At least that's what Tennessee would like. Tony Pollard is back. I know he missed last week, but he's got a long week to recover. Remember, that was a Thursday game. They didn't want to risk it. They kind of knew they didn't need to against Tennessee. Tony Pollard should play. Will he play the whole game? Probably, but anyways, he's in. Kenneth Walker is good to go, and Miles Sanders is good to go.
Yeah. All right. So I did just see Jacoby Myers is questionable with a shoulder, but I feel like he'll probably play because this is a must-win for the Patriots. So
yeah, they need him, and he's been questionable a couple times. He usually fights through it. For whatever that's worth, playing against Buffalo. All right, guys, we're going to get to your questions now. We'll get to as many as we can. Don't forget, if you put a super chat, we will guaranteed answer it no matter what. We'll stay here until all of them are answered and do as many as we can anyways. Also, even though I know the season's coming to a close, still consider being a patron patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame, because patrons will get exclusive content throughout the off season, and we will still have our meetings, even though there is no start sit after this week. We'll still be meeting on a regular basis to talk draft strategy, talk dynasty, talk trades, talk anything, just talk. So check that out. Of course, I already mentioned the Discord. It is free. It is easy to sign up, and that will be active every day of the off season. In fact, probably have more time to be active in the chat and talking. We're already breaking down underdog best ball strategy in there because we're ready to jump in some of those and win it next year.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, if you want endgame merch to show who helped you to a championship, hopefully we did, then you can consider doing that. bearclothing.org, and scroll to the very bottom of the home page and you'll see fancy endgame merch, hats, hoodies, shirts, you name it. And then finally, did it, even though start sit is over, like I said, we'll be helping you with draft strategy and pretty soon fantasy baseball, which drafts are not that far away. Look for that. So you download the Did It app, and that's a way you can reach us one-on-one. So check that out for sure. Last but not least, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Everyone helps us. We're almost at 30,000. It would be a nice way to end the NFL season. All right. Jesus, been waiting for us to get on. Won one of the finals.
Nice.
All right. Week 18. Yeah, tricky's a good way to put it.
Yes.
And then let's see here. I think I just saw Mohammed wants to know. Thank you. Appreciate that, by the way. Thank you, Mohammed. And we didn't do a Booms video, so he wants to know who are our Boom picks for this week.
I don't know. Anybody who's actually playing the entire game, I would put as a Boom pick. I would say any Eagles player is probably a Boom pick because I think the Giants are going to rest most or all of their starters. I think the Eagles are going to absolutely just rout them. Probably any 49er is a Boom pick because the Cardinals basically have half their team is out this week. So I think they're going to absolutely just rout them. Yeah.
I mean, again, we're talking booms, not sleepers, right? Boom, usually we pick guys that you're probably starting and just hoping for a big game or kind of. So you mentioned Eagles. I like Devontae Smith. I mean, yeah, he's kind of a must start anyways, but that's a guy. How about Najee Harris? What a boy for him to end the season with a huge game. He was a beast last week.
Yeah.
And now he gets Cleveland, which is an even better matchup. And I mean, you have to like Najee this week. A guy I think is a must start pretty much. And then I think in that Saturday game, Jacksonville, Tennessee, winner takes all, basically. I think I feel a little better about Jacksonville, not going to lie. Yeah. Tennessee with a third-string quarterback, a lot of injuries, and a terrible secondary. They're already one of the worst against receivers. Maybe this is the week where Christian Kirk has another boom week. And I kind of like Zay Jones. I think I feel better about Zay Jones in terms of the floor, but this could be one of those Kirk weeks. So I think those are guys I would feel like worth putting in the lineup. And then I don't know if he's a boom, but I'm almost ashamed to say I like Zach Moss this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Playing Houston, he's getting all the touches. I mean, sure, roll with Zach Moss. I mean, you play like Saquon Barkley, you might not even be able to play Dalvin Cook. Who else? There's a lot of running backs you just like, I can't. All right. What about Henry? What's up, Henry? So he needs 2 running backs. McKinnon, Akers, Stevenson, Swift, and Fournette.
Man. Well, I'm going to say no to Fournette simply because, I mean, what are we really expecting from Fournette anyways? But also, I just don't think this is a game where they're going to play a lot of Leonard Fournette. They need him healthy for the playoffs. He's kind of banged up right now. Oh, man. This is where it gets tough. I think Justin Jackson is back. So they'll probably find a way to give him more touches than DeAndre Swift in a must-win game, knowing that coaching staff. And they also said they really want Jamal Williams to break Barry Sanders' season-long rushing record, because I guess apparently they hate DeAndre Swift and Barry Sanders there. Like what? Like what? Like what? Come on. Anyway, so I could see Jamal Williams getting every time they get near the goal line, close to the end zone, just Jamal. I don't know, something ridiculous like that. I do like Akers this week. He's in a great spot. He's getting all the touches. McKinnon has been going nuts. Stevenson, not the best matchup, but it's a must win. Will they lean on him? It's really close between those three for me. Those are the three I'm really debating, like what to. And crazily enough, I feel like Akers is the one I feel the best about. Just because it's, he's going to get 20 carries against the Seahawks. Terrible run defense.
Stevenson is the tough one, right? He's the one you really don't know what to expect because he hasn't done nothing the last 2 weeks, really.
And Damian Harris is back and he's healthy. I think I go McKinnon. Am I really saying McKinnon? I mean, can he really keep scoring touchdowns like this?
Yeah, it's the Raiders. Why not?
Well, that's the thing. It's the Raiders and the Chiefs are playing to win, right? Because the NFL is basically hosing them, and they're kind of hosing the Chiefs, but they're really hosing the Bengals. But anyways, I think I go McKinnon and Akers if it's my team.
Yeah, I mean, basically here you kind of have to go reverse order of what you would do all season long, and now in the playoffs. Fournette is the guy you cannot play because if anybody's going to rest in the Tampa Bay game, it's him. I mean, he even came out and said, I've been playing hurt all year, right? They don't need to win this game. They're going to start the starters. Doesn't mean they're going to finish or even see halftime. Fournette's the guy I can say just no. Swift is the guy I don't trust because even when last week he emerged, this is a road game against the Packers, who have won, 5 in a row because of their defense. No, I'm not trusting Swift. And then Stevenson, you'd think, but it's not even a good matchup. It's on the road against Buffalo, Akers, and McKinnon. That's it. Those are the guys. That's week 18. Hey, that's what we get for playing in week 18. All right, so Jesus had the question, have Godwin, speaking of the Bucs, should you start him, Juju, or Mixon?
Well, Godwin's tough because it's such a good matchup, but also you don't know how much he's going to play. But I feel like in the past we've seen like Brady in the final meaningless game come out and just go nuts for a half, and then everybody sits, and it's like he's already put up tons of points. Juju is always so hard, right? Juju's one of these guys that you hate having him on your bench, but you also hate having him in your lineup, right? It's like you bench him, he goes for 25. You put him in your lineup, he goes for 5. I really wonder, I almost feel like you got to go Mixon here. I know it's a tough matchup against the Ravens, but I feel like, the Bengals, 2 things about the Bengals. Number 1, they have to win this week.
Right.
Because, and this leads directly into number 2, the NFL has completely hosed the Bengals, and they are mad right now, right? Because the NFL basically said, if you lose to the Ravens this week, and then you end up playing the Ravens in the wild card, we're going to coin flip to see who gets the home field advantage. Even though you're going to be the 3 seed and they're going to be the 6 seed, you're not going to get home field. We're going to coin flip for home field, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I think the Bengals come out and just annihilate the Ravens. I think they just come out and annihilate them. Who knows who's going to be the quarterback for the Ravens? I think you got to feel pretty good about Mixon. They're not going to sit him. He's going to play the whole game. I'm going to Mixon.
I'm going Mixon too. And you'd think, Godwin against the Falcons.
Yeah.
Look, maybe he does. I mean, look, there's a real possibility he puts up big numbers just in the first half, but it's not guaranteed. I feel good about Mixon. I'll take that over maybe a half of a guy. Actually, the Falcons, and I looked into this because remember, most of the year they were just a cakewalk for wide receivers. But the last few weeks, they have clamped down a little bit. They've been a little bit better, not turning the ball over as much with the rookie quarterback. They're playing it safer. They're, just running the ball. Anyways, point is, Godwin, a little too risky for me. I'll take Mixon. I think that he's in a good spot. And again, you can feel good about Mixon because he is a guy who will catch passes. So he does give you that floor, assuming you're PPR. And then Don wants to know, with Fields out, Purdy and Stidham, who you like better?
Man, this is tough because I know you say Stidham, it's the Chiefs. He just had this huge game. He's at home. But I saw the Cardinals injury report. They have like 15 guys out this week. It's like, the Cardinals are absolutely done, right? And Buda Baker, their awesome safety, is out. I know JJ Watt will play hard. It's his last game ever. He'll play hard, but still, got Debo back. He's got CMC. He's got Kittle. He's got Ayuk. He's got an offensive genius in Kyle Shanahan. I think I got to go Purdy here.
Yeah. I mean, you said it, Arizona. I mean, they've been done, but now they're really just ready. What's the thing that they do on the inside of the NBA, going fishing or something? Like they got the reservations, they got the fishing boat ready. Not only the defense, like you said, those injuries, but they're still back to David Blau, the fourth stringer at quarterback. No James Conner, no DeAndre Hopkins. What is this team going to even do on offense? The Niners could have the ball a lot. And I don't feel like they're going to give Christian McCaffrey the ball, 25 times because he's kind of nursing an injury. They want him fresh for the postseason. I think Purdy is the guy here. Now, if you really want to shoot for ceiling, you want a guy who could have a monster game, because you saw he put up big numbers last week and now against the Chiefs. Stidham, I will say, has the bigger ceiling, but also is riskier. I would just go with Purdy if you're playing for a title. But we have another Jarrett Stidham question, because I know you were hoping. And Alfredo, Stidham or Kirk Cousins?
Man, this time I think you got to go Stidham. At least we know Stidham will play the entire game, and he gets the Chiefs. I'm not worried about Cousins against the Bears. I'm not worried about that at all. I'm more worried about them sitting Cousins. And today, Kevin O'Connell, he's still kind of he hasn't said, he hasn't outright said we're gonna, sit guys or limit guys, but he kind of sort of did, with what he said. I don't think we see, and definitely don't think we see an entire game of Cousins. Maybe we see a half of Cousins. Maybe, I'm guessing. Is that enough? Even against the Bears? Probably not. I think you got to go Stidham here.
Now, Vikings are a team, really don't have to do anything. And even if they did, again, let's go back to the other side of the equation here. The Bears, with Fields out, as we just said, they're starting Nathan Peterman. I don't feel like the Vikings are really going to have to throw the ball too much. That's just me. I could be wrong, could be off here. But I don't feel like this is going to be one of those high-scoring games for the Vikings, and Cousins is probably not going to be out there the whole game. You can't do it. I got to go Stidham. And look, it might not be a bad choice at all this week.
Yeah. He's got
now, what about the Bills? Is this a team you think will be sitting players? I'm guessing not.
No, because the way the NFL is doing this playoff thing is, well, first of all, if KC loses and the Bills win, the Bills get the number 1 seed. So they're playing for that. But also, if both KC and the Bills win and they meet in the AFC Championship game, that game will be played at a neutral site. So the Bills definitely want to win this game. Not only that, they want to win this game because of what happened to their teammate. I think the Bills are going to be playing hard, and they're going to be playing the whole game. So I would not, if I had Bills players, I wouldn't be worried at all.
No, I'm starting the Bills. And you can also kind of think of it this way. They sort of almost had a week off. They didn't play the game, and they got not even partway through the first quarter. They didn't really have much of a game last week. There's really no reason they need to sit and rest. And it's the Patriots. They want to beat them anyways. They're not sitting pretty with the home field locked up. So no, I'm not sitting any Bills players if I would normally start them. And then Jorge Dominguez, Happy New Year to you. Mike Williams or Amari Cooper?
I think you got to go Cooper this week, because here's the issue with the Chargers now is because they didn't schedule that Bengals-Ravens game till middle of the week. So when we did our running back and wide receiver video, we still figured the Chargers were going to be playing for that number 5 seed. But now the Bengals and Ravens play in the morning or the early games, and the Chargers play in the afternoon game. If the Ravens lose to the Bengals, which is probably going to happen, the Chargers are locked into the number 5 seed. They're that's it. They're in the number 5 seed. They can't go up. They can't go down. They're locked in. So what I'm guessing, we're not going to see much of the Chargers starters at all in this game either. So this has nothing to do with the players. It has to do with more. I know Amari Cooper, barring injury, will play the entire game this week. It's got to be Amari Cooper.
Exactly. And, kind of mentioned here and there, but teams, even though they don't listen to what the coaches say, right? They're not looking out for your best interest as far as your fantasy team. The teams that could just outright sit players based on what's going on, the Giants are almost surely to sit players. The Chargers could wind up sitting players. The second half, maybe they'll play or they'll play a little bit, but not the whole game. The Bucks, we already mentioned. The Chiefs, no guarantee they go all out if they're already winning, at halftime. So those are teams you just have to worry about. And then the Vikings, of course. I'd be worried about all those players. And then there's the teams that, they have nothing to play for. They're already sitting some players, but those guys, you might see them big fold or just not go all out. Teams like Washington, we already see starting a rookie quarterback, and their starting running backs are sitting. I worry about teams like Arizona. We know they're already sitting guys. And then the Broncos and the Rams, I kind of worry about those teams. Not that they are great, that you should be wanting to start their players anyways. Cam Baker is the only guy I kind of feel good about. Anyways. All right, so Suzanne Burkholder got Dalvin Cook. Speaking of, would you rather go? This is such a Week 18 question. Dalvin Cook or Jonathan Williams?
I think you got to go Jonathan Williams. I can't. This is here's the thing. First of all, Dalvin Cook hasn't even been that good this year. Let's be real. He really hasn't. I mean, he had a couple games where he had these huge, he had that one game where I think it was against the Bills, where he was that crazy comeback game where Jefferson made that insane catch. He had that long, 80-yard touchdown, did nothing the rest of the game. And then he had that game against the Colts where they came back where he had that long catch for a touchdown. But I mean, really, he's not looked great this year. And I know it's easy to say it's the Bears, it's a terrible run defense. You're right, but what if he only plays a quarter, a series, a half? Are you going to bank on Dalvin Cook putting up a huge game in a half when he hasn't even been putting up huge games for entire games? He hasn't been putting up huge games for entire games. It's crazy. This is Week 18, but I think you got to go Jonathan Williams.
I almost wish you would say that you had Alexander Madison, because I feel like he might be a good play, but Jonathan Williams isn't the worst play. They're both out, completely out. Williams will get a ton of touches. I mean, how well will he do? Who knows? I mean, again, if Sam Howell just completely tanks and he's throwing interceptions, then there goes that. But I would go Williams because I don't trust Cook. So again, one of the reasons why I typically don't want to play Week 18, but I get it. It happens. So there you go. All right, let's get to the first super chat. Moises, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Hola. One running back, one flex. Pacheco, Williams. And now we're okay. I want to clarify because we've been talking actually about Jonathan Williams, and we still got Jamal Williams, and maybe that's Mike Williams. So Moises, if you can drop in the chat, you don't have to super chat again. Which Williams is it? Because that matters. Pacheco, Williams, Moss, Dotson, Osborne.
All right. Well, I'll say if it's Jamal Williams, I'm going Jamal Williams at running back. Because one thing about Green Bay, their defense has been much better, but they're still not very good against the run. And like I said, the coaching staff has already said they want Jamal Williams to break Barry Sanders' team record for touchdowns in a year. Yeah, so okay, I can see them like, okay, he did say it's Jamal Williams. Okay, so I'm going Jamal Williams at running back, even though I do like Zach Moss. I mean, how much can you really like Zach Moss on the Colts?
Yeah.
So I'm going Jamal Williams. But you know what? I probably like Zach Moss enough to flex him over those wide receivers because I know you could talk yourself into KJ Osborne and say, well, you know, if they rest the starters, but why would they play KJ Osborne? He's a starter. Why would they not rest him? And Dotson with Sam Howell, you really want to find out how that's going to work? You really want to find out if Sam Howell is the guy or not? And Pacheco, I mean, look, he scored last week and got you what, like 11 fantasy points or something? There's just not. I know it's the Raiders, but I'm going Williams and Moss.
Me too. I mean, Dotson, it's not startable with Sam Howell. Just not worth it. Pacheco has just been Williams, if it's Jamal, and then Osborne is interesting. He is interesting, but again, if they're resting guys, that means they're resting Kirk Cousins too. So that he's got catching passes from, I don't even know, who is their backup quarterback? Is it like I don't know. I don't even remember. So
I don't even know, honestly.
Go Williams and Moss. And I do like Moss. He's a sleeper, kind of a sleeper pick. I do like this week. Houston running defense, that's bad. Houston does give up the most, or has given up the most rushing touchdowns to running backs. So maybe Moss finally snaps his scoreless streak. And then we'll do one more question since he dropped the super chat. Purdy, Geno, or Herbert? Which is a question because we said Chargers might not have anything to play for.
Yeah, and it's not really a great matchup for Herbert anyways. So I think you can easily bench Herbert here, honestly. Between Purdy and Geno for me, Purdy has the better matchup. But man, Seattle is playing for everything. This is their season. Like they have to win and then hope to get lucky, right? To hope, I guess, but the Packers have to lose, I think. So, and they're at home. Man. Is that enough? Is that enough for me to put Geno over Purdy?
Geno was okay. In fact, if I remember, last time they played the Rams, I think he went over 300 yards. I think he had like 320 or something. I
mean, he could definitely do it again because I think in this case, I think I'd probably feel a little bit better about Geno than Purdy.
Yeah, I'd go Geno. They need to win. He wasn't bad last time they played the Rams. If I remember, he did have one of his better yardage games. Rams are another team that kind of have a foot out the door already. So, yeah. I think Purdy's fine this week. I feel pretty good, but I'll go Geno as well. A little bit higher of a ceiling. All right, and then we have Tavahu. Second leg of the championship. It's a 2 flex that we need, PPR. All right, so let's first talk about Eckler and CMC. Eckler, the guy. I think CMC, they say he's going to play. Eckler, what about Eckler?
Yeah, I think CMC, you're good with CMC because, again, the Niners, remember, if the Niners win and the Eagles lose, they get the number 1 seed. But even still, if they win, they get the number 2 seed. And that's still important because it means you get a home game. You at least get a home game the first 2 rounds. And if you play anybody but the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, you'll also get that game at home. So getting that number 2 seed is still very important. I think they're going to try to win that game. And they will win that game because it's the Cardinals. So I think you feel good about CMC. Eckler, that's the worry here because, again, like if the Ravens lose, which they probably will, with potentially a third-string quarterback, even with Tyler Huntley, they'll probably lose. The Chargers have nothing to play for. So I don't think I would play Eckler, honestly, unless we hear something like where Brandon Staley says, we're playing everybody and we're playing to win, which would be crazy. So I would switch out Eckler, and you got Swift and Cooper. Man. By the way, how are these guys your 2 flexes?
Yeah, I was wondering, are these can't be your actual flex. I don't know. Anyways, Swift and Cooper. That's. I mean, the question.
I mean, it should be Swift. It should be Swift. It's a must-win game. against on the road where like you figure like you're not going to just be able to ask Jared Goff to carry the team because you can't against a good secondary. So you think the game plan would be to run and short passes, screens, dump offs to the running backs. Like this should be a Swift week. But you never just know. You just never know.
But you said it, on the road. Lions don't put up nearly as many points on the road. And the Packers now, one of the better defenses out there. And, I'm going to say Packers, they love to milk the clock. They don't want to get in a shootout anymore because Aaron Rodgers isn't that type of quarterback anymore. They're going to win with their running backs and with their defense and by not turning it over. They're going to make Goff try to beat them. And I don't think it's going to work. So, no. I don't know. I'd rather have Cooper than Swift. The question is, do you keep Eckler in there? That's the question.
No,
I don't think you can.
I mean, because here's the problem. Like, so they play. Let's see. When do I don't know. But the Chargers play in the later games.
Right.
Now I don't know. Well, the Lions play Sunday night, so obviously, I guess if you were willing to risk it with Swift, you could wait and see maybe the Ravens pull off the upset and the Chargers have to play. But even then, there's no guarantee the Chargers play their guys. Like, yeah, I think I just go with Cooper. I don't risk it. I just go with Cooper. I don't think we're going to see much, if any, Eckler.
Too risky. Look, Cooper, we haven't heard anything that the Browns are sitting players. I think they still, even though they're not making the playoffs, I think they still will try because, again, they want to prove that Deshaun Watson was worth it. Right? Yeah. They want him to end on a high note. Cooper just coming off a big game. I mean, it's not the best matchup, but I'd go with him over Eckler, and I don't trust Swift. All right, go back a little bit. Some of these chats that we have now. Waddle and Godwin, both are sketchy. Would you bench either for Zay Jones?
Man. Gosh, week 18.
I would. I'll just come out and say it's my guy. I would bench Waddle because not only is he catching passes or not catching passes from Skylar Thompson, let's remember the Jets, one of the toughest defenses against wide receiver. It's just... No, I'll go Zay Jones. Matchup's so much better.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, oh man, brutal, but I think you have to.
Tell me about it. All right, Jerry needs a flex. Mostert, London, Shaheed, kind of interesting, or Osborne.
Huh.
London is the interesting one here.
Yes.
You think?
Yes, he's the one he was my first, kind of where my mind went to first. It's just like Shaheed. No, I'm not. Okay, maybe he can hit on a big play or something, and like you wish you started him, but chances are you're going to be happy you didn't start him when he doesn't hit that big play.
A little risky.
Yeah. Osborne again. I just worry too much about what the Vikings are going to do in this game. How much Cousins are we going to see? How much Osborne are we even going to see? Mostert is interesting because he did get a ton of targets from Skylar Thompson, but it is the Jets. They still do have a good defense. The defense is still going to play hard. The only thing with London is like, what is the upside with London? Like.
Yeah, he's getting a ton of targets, which is good. It's what you want to see, like, finally. But the touchdown upside isn't there. That's the thing. Now, if Tampa Bay is resting their starters in the second half, I mean, maybe we do see a London score, a big game. But I would feel better about him than these other three guys probably anyways. So I think I still would just take the floor of London because he'll still be out there. He should be out there all game.
Yeah. That's probably what I would do too, because these other guys are just so risky.
All right, let's go to. This is a commish question. All right, let's move on to Joshua Shields. Welcome back, Joshua. Good evening. Who would you start between Kirk Cousins and Justin Herbert? Two guys that we don't feel good about. If you had to pick, or do you just go fishing on waivers for somebody?
Yeah, who's on waivers? I mean, I don't really want to start. If I had to choose, I guess I would go Cousins because at least he might play a half or so, and it's the Bears, so maybe he can put up a decent game in the first half. Herbert, I just really don't see the Chargers playing their starters much of it all. Like, I don't like why? Why would they do it? So, yeah, but can you put Taysom Hill at QB? I might even go Taysom Hill over these guys at my QB slot if he has QB eligibility in your league.
Let's not wonder how deep do we go? Like, I'm not putting, if you can, look for a guy who is on waivers. I mean, if Brock Purdy's out there, yeah, put him in there. Joe Flacco, would you go Joe Flacco over these guys?
Oh yeah, I would do. At least Flacco's going to play the whole game. I mean, the only way Flacco's not playing the whole game is if he gets hurt because they're not going to put Zach Wilson in no matter how bad Flacco is.
Would you go Sam Howell?
No, that's too much because I mean, at least with Flacco, we know he's got he can put up numbers. Sam Howell, I'm not risking it with Sam. No, I'd rather put Cousins in.
All right, and then what about this is the last one? I promise. What about Desmond Ridder?
He's done just nothing. I mean,
no touchdowns.
No touchdowns. Doesn't throw for a ton of yards. Doesn't even run for. That was the thing. He'll be like, doesn't even run for a ton of yards. Just does nothing. Just what he does? He just hands the ball off all game long, and every now and then throws 8 to 10 yards to Drake London, and then he just goes back to hand it off and throws 8 to 10 yards to Drake London. That's all he does.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe. I mean, I don't know. That one's close. But
yeah. I mean, I guess if you can do Taysom Hill, I mean, okay, so if you start Taysom Hill at quarterback, who's your tight end? Is it Higbee probably?
Look, I like Higbee this week. He gets Seattle, who are terrible against tight ends. He's really the only guy Baker Mayfield throws the ball to. I like Higbee.
There you go.
And then Jesus,
we missed got some better options there.
Yeah, we missed Jesus' super chat.
Oh, another one. All right. Should I risk Godwin or go Osborne, London, Dotson? Okay, we'll do that, and then we'll ask about Williams. Kind of talked about Williams earlier, but Godwin or those three guys? I mean,
can't play Dotson with Sam Howell. He's unstartable. I mean, look, maybe there'll be the rookie to rookie connection or something, but are you you gonna put him in your lineup and find out? You know what I mean? I'm not. I already talked about Osborne. Yeah, Godwin, I know he's in a good spot, but how much is he gonna play? I do like Williams, but man, there's real bust potential with Williams too, right? I think I go London here as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about these same guys already. Dotson, you can't. Osborne, too risky. London is safe, but look, Godwin might do what he does in just a half. So in this case, I'd risk Godwin. Is Williams a good start from Washington as a flex this week? Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not safe. We can't guarantee he'll do much, but he's going to get touches, and that's all you could ask for at this point. And then Kepler asking about defensive rankings. Didn't do a defensive streamer question because, well, it's week 18 and the demand just wasn't there anymore. But I will tell you, as far as rankings, well, I won't go over all rankings, but you're still, if you got the Niners and the Eagles, still roll with them. Obviously, you're great there this week. Cowboys, same thing, going against Sam Howell. Those are the top three. I hate to say, but I like the Jets going against the Dolphins with a rookie quarterback. Definitely a good matchup for them. And then he wasn't terrible, but Josh Dobbs going for Tennessee. Do you think the Jaguars are kind of like a sneaky good defense?
Yeah, because it's Dobbs, maybe no Treylon Burks. Yeah, I mean, how many points do we really think the Titans are going to put up?
And then you talked about the Bengals maybe smashing the Ravens this week, especially if Huntley is not playing or is just banged up. Bengals defense, and they're going to be fresh because they didn't really play last week. So I got to like the Bengals a lot. And then maybe the Chargers because they're playing Denver. But you just don't know. A little riskier now. If they have nothing to play for, maybe they sit some starters. And then this might be the first and only week this season where I could say maybe the Vikings are playable because they play the Bears with Nathan Peterman.
Maybe.
Startable.
I would say they're startable. That probably wouldn't be my favorite defense.
No. Startable if you really need one. All right. Michael O. Struggling about Eckler. Yeah. Guy who carried you all season. If you have to, would you play Bam, Dobbins, Pirine, whoever plays for the Giants, whoever plays well, Jonathan Williams, Chase Edmonds, Chuba Hubbard, Khalil Herbert, Royce Freeman. Okay, so what do you do?
All right, well, I'm going to eliminate Bam. I'm going to eliminate Pirine because the Bengals are playing to win. I'm going to eliminate New York Giant running back. I'm going to eliminate Chase Edmonds. I know he did a little something last week. I don't know. I'm going to eliminate Chuba. I'm going to eliminate Khalil Herbert. I'm going to eliminate Royce Freeman. So for me, it's between Dobbins, Williams, and Warren. Now, Warren is interesting because it's such a good matchup. He gets a decent amount of run because even though Najee gets 20-plus carries and gets a few targets, they don't want to throw the ball. So there's enough here for Warren to get run too against the Browns. Dobbins, it's a tough spot for Dobbins, especially if they're at the third string quarterback and they can't even move the ball. They can't throw the ball. Every time they get into third and long, it's no chance. Do I go Warren over Williams? I mean, Williams will get the touches, but man, he could bust.
Yeah, that's the thing. You think Dobbins should be the guy, but can't like his matchup.
Maybe I still do go Dobbins. At least Dobbins has looked kind of good.
I mean, a running back, I'm gonna almost always go after the volume, right? Who's getting the touches? Because that's almost always gonna lead to more fantasy points, unless it's a terrible matchup or it's a great spot, vice versa. Dobbins has a terrible matchup. I mean, at least not a good matchup.
Yeah.
And I feel like Williams will get as many touches as Dobbins. So I think I'd go Williams over Dobbins. Warren is kind of interesting, but again, he's kind of second fiddle there. I think I would go Williams.
Yeah. He also said Tampa Bay running back. Do we feel better about Rachaad White, thinking Leonard Fournette doesn't play much and they just, give Rachaad White a lot of carries because why not? He's young, he's healthy, he can handle it.
But you even said you think we might see a lot of Keyshawn Vaughn in this game for all we know.
True.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that. I probably would go the guy I think is going to get the most touches, which is Williams.
Yeah,
Dobbins, if you feel because Dobbins has shown, even though he's not getting a ton of carries every game, he's had bursts and he's made big runs, right? And he could obviously score a touchdown. So it's between Dobbins and Williams. Yeah, it's one of those guys for me.
Then he has a quarterback question.
Goff, Stidham, or Purdy?
I think I got to go Purdy. I mean, we talked about Purdy and Stidham. I like Purdy a little bit more. And Goff on the road against Green Bay. I mean, look, last week I was saying, I know it's Green Bay. It's a tough defense. It's on the road. But Kirk Cousins has been playing so well. You got to keep rolling with Kirk Cousins. Well, we saw how that turned out. I know Goff's been playing great, but, man, on the road in Green Bay, yeah, I'm just going to go with Purdy.
Yeah, if you're playing for the title, I think you go Purdy here. Stidham could have that ceiling, but considering that you might have to sit Eckler, I don't think you can take too many risks here.
Yeah.
So, week 18, man, week 18. Here's another this is so week 18 question. Do you think that Zach Moss will get more work than Nick Chubb?
No, I don't think so. I don't Cleveland isn't going to rest Nick Chubb or anything like that. Like Pierre said, they're one of these teams. They're trying to go into next season with some momentum because right? They have eyes the next season with a full offseason with Deshaun Watson. Kareem Hunt's going to be a free agent. They're not going to give Kareem Hunt the ball. So I think we see Chubb gets his normal everyday, usage. I mean, could Zach Moss get more work than Chubb? Maybe, but I mean, I'm not banking on it.
Well, even if he gets more work, is he going to be better than Nick Chubb with the work he gets?
No.
So, yeah. I'm not going to take a straight up bet on who gets more carries, but I will tell you who I feel has more fantasy value. So, yeah, I'll still go Chubb here. We kind of talked about this earlier. NFL Fan 22, is Madison a good start if they limit Cook?
I think so. I mean, I think so, because it's the Bears, and I just don't think we're going to see a lot of Dalvin Cook. I mean, even if Cousins, maybe they see if Justin Jefferson is tracking towards, because I think I saw he needs like 194 yards to break Calvin Johnson's record, which that's no small feat, of course. But maybe if he's just destroying this secondary and he's racking up yards, maybe they let him and Cousins play until he gets the record. But I could see them playing Dalvin Cook very little here, because he did bang up his shoulder again in week 17. They need Dalvin Cook next week. They don't need him this week. So I do feel pretty good about Madison.
I would love to be all over Madison if we knew for sure. And I mean, you've got to think the Vikings aren't going to play Cook much, if at all. But then here's the other thing. It's not a guarantee they'll play Madison a whole lot. They might, roll out who they have, Ty Chandler, I think, or, Kene Nwangu. You don't know. So, and I'm serious. We don't know. So Madison, I can't feel he's a solid start unless they announce he's the starter. Cook's not playing at all. And even then, you have to acknowledge there's some risk with Madison. But he could be, but I can't put him more than a flex play. All right, Shelly wants to know, Etienne or Akers? I mean, for as bad as Tennessee has been, there's still a tough run defense. Even last week, really, they pretty much shut down Zeke.
Yeah, no, they are a tough run defense.
And that was with backups. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons, I don't think played. They had half their defense wasn't playing because they knew the game didn't matter. And they still did actually a pretty good job on run defense.
Yeah,
but it's the end.
I mean, that's Zeke. Man.
I'm not trying to. By the way, I'm not trying to. It sounds like I'm trying to convince you to mark Cam Akers.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say Akers.
It's like the nice thing here is we know both these guys are going to play the whole game. I mean, we know the Jags are playing to win. The Rams are going to play to win at least as much as an eliminated team. I don't think the Rams are just going to wave quit and play all backups or something. So.
Oh, they're already doing that. That's all they've been playing backups half the season.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't have anybody else to put in there.
Yeah. Man, this is kind of you trust the guy in the better matchup, or do you trust the better guy in the worst matchup? Jeez. I don't know. I think if it was my team, I'm still going Etienne. I just can't. I couldn't because even last week, Akers had a great matchup, and he did great, right? He ran for 100 and something yards, but he only got you 14 fantasy points, which is nothing wrong with 14 fantasy points. But I don't expect Akers to score 2 or 3 touchdowns in this game again. I don't know what his ceiling really is. I think I still go Etienne by the slimmest of margins.
Yeah, I mean, my gut call is Etienne. Akers really. I said the reason it's so close is because the matchup is so good for Akers, because Seattle's run defense has been so bad. But again, Seattle has everything to play for. The Rams have nothing to play for. If the game does get, where at least Seattle has a decent lead, we don't know for sure that we're going to see Akers out there all game. Kind of probably want to keep him fresh for next year. Now they know he's the guy again, and I'm going to take Etienne. What I worry about with Etienne is that Jags now fall back and just go pass heavy again. They just go like Trevor Lawrence is going to throw it 50 times, which is actually what they probably should do. That's a smart thing to do against Tennessee because they're total pass on defense. But I'm still going to go Etienne. Speaking of the Seahawks, our guy Michael is in here. Season's over. Just stopping by to say hi. Excited for next season. You should be excited for the mock drafts we're starting this week, right? This week? Next week?
Yes. We will be doing some mocks this week, definitely.
All right, guys. Fantasy never ends here.
Nope.
That should be our slogan. We should put that on this. Where fantasy never ends. All right. And then Chris, KD, Sam Howell, or the Water Boy?
Oh man. I think I'll still go Sam Howell here. I'll give him a chance, and I'll hope that there's a reason why he was drafted.
I remember a time. I'm old enough to remember a time where Sam Howell was projected to be a first-round pick and one of the top quarterbacks, maybe the top quarterback in the NFL draft. And then the season happened, and he wasn't. But people were all over Sam Howell after the previous season. Just didn't come together for him. But I actually did take, I would say, like 1 or 2 shares of Sam Howell in some best ball drafts. I hope that he did get in there. Now it took to week 18, but hey, we'll see.
I hope he goes in and looks like incredible, so we can finally get rid of Ron Rivera. Because it's like, really, this guy, not only did you choose Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke over this guy, you chose Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke twice over this guy. Like you had a chance to redo it, and you still chose those guys over him. So I hope that he looks awesome this week and just plays great. And everybody's like, why was this guy not starting all year? That's what I hope.
And he has to own the Carson Wentz thing, because remember, he came out, he was all pissed off, and he was like, I'm the one who wanted him. I saw the film. I met with him. I'm the one. So, okay. See how that turned out. Yeah. Somebody in the Discord, I remember, who said something like he's the new Jeff Fisher, like 8-8 every year.
Yeah, he's got to be out of a job.
I think so.
Sure.
I like Ron, but I don't think
I like Ron as a person, but I don't want him coaching my favorite football team.
Right. All right. The Masked Bandit. Nice. I like the Doom. Looks like a Doom mask. Full PPR. Need help with the flex. 2 starting receivers. Diggs and Devontae Smith. Good. Flex spot. Chubb, Evans, Williams, DJ Moore, or Juju. Full PPR.
Are you still sticking by your never benching Mike Evans, even though the Bucs might bench Mike Evans?
Well, this game I can bench Mike Evans, because I don't think we'll see Mike Evans more than half.
I don't think you can play Mike Williams again. I think it's just too risky.
Yeah.
I mean, Chubb is fine, but look, what has Chubb done the last 6 weeks? Chubb obviously he has to score a touchdown, right? He just does, and I don't know. Maybe this will be the week he scores again, but whatever. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think it's got to be DJ Moore. He's been I don't love the matchup for DJ Moore this week, but at least with Sam Darnold, he showed signs of life. He's shown some upside. I think out of this group, I'm playing DJ Moore.
Yeah, which again is, they're one of those teams, Carolina, that don't have anything to play for now because they got eliminated last week. But I don't feel like they're sitting and their guys. And there's certain teams you think, well, not every team that isn't making the playoffs is just sitting their guys, because you have to keep in mind, well, first of all, some teams actually just want to win.
Yes.
Crazy enough, not every team tanks, but also coaches want to go out and prove that they win, especially if you think about Steve Wilkes in Carolina. He actually brought this team from the depths to almost getting in the playoffs, and he's trying to prove that he should become the head coach full-time next year. He wants to go out on a high note. He wants to be a division rival in New Orleans. And Dennis Allen kind of has to prove also in New Orleans that he should be the coach next year. They're on a winning streak. I'm not saying he should, but he wants to show that he should. But Carolina is going to try to win, is what I'm saying. DJ Moore, I still feel pretty good about, although New Orleans now has Marshawn Lattimore back, and their rookie corner, get his name on the other side, Avante, I think, something Avante, has been really good. So I don't love DJ Moore, but I don't trust Williams. I don't trust Evans. Chubb is in full PPR. I think I'd rather have DJ Moore.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's more like I'd rather just have him over those guys.
And then he wants to know Chubb or Etienne.
Oh, man.
Etienne is the big unknown here, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least we know, again, we know that Etienne, like, he's going to play the whole game. They're playing to win. We don't have to worry about, like, they're resting him or anything. It's more the matchup, right? It's the Titans. Yeah. They've been great against the run. It's not a. Actually, who do the Browns play again? How come I can't remember?
Steelers.
Yeah, so that's right. So it's not a great spot for Chubb either. And the Steelers playing to win, right? Because the Steelers do have like a small path to the playoffs if they win. But also guys are talking about they want to win for Tomlin. That defense has been much better since TJ Watt has come back.
And actually got a little gem here from Paul saying Chubb's last 8 games against the Steelers, he only has 2 touchdowns. So without that touchdown upside,
I will always remember Nick Chubb week 17, 2021, because I was in a finals matchup. I had Najee Harris. My opponent had Nick Chubb. I had Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris. My opponent had Nick Chubb. But my opponent was already up like 30 points. And I remember I was like, well, I'm done. Like Nick Chubb, like, come on. He's going to. Like, and Nick Chubb got 5 points that game, 5. And Najee Harris had that. And we were losing by, like, I remember it was like 3rd down, game's almost over. I think the Steelers are winning. So if they get the first down, they basically kneel, right? If they get the first down, they kneel. And we were losing by like 0.6, and they only needed 3 yards. And Najee ripped off that long run for the touchdown, and we won because of that. Anyways, that was a story nobody cared about. But yes, I do. But that did remind me that yes, Chubb has been very bad against the Steelers, and he also has not been scoring touchdowns lately. I think I go Etienne. I'm just gonna go with Etienne.
Yeah, I'm going Etienne too. Chubb, I think he'll be okay yardage wise, but Steelers defense has been so good. That's why they've been winning. That's why they're still somehow hanging around the playoff race. So can't feel great about Chubb. He's startable, but I'll go Etienne too. And then Jack, full PPR flex. We got Pittman, we got Shaheed, and we got Waddle.
I don't think I can bench Waddle for these guys, even with Skylar Thompson. I mean, I know Pittman scored last week, but are we really banking on Pittman scoring again? At least Waddle is a guy that, like, you get the ball in his hands, he can always take it, right? He can take it to the house. We saw that in that game against the Packers, right? It's not like he caught 10 passes in that game. He caught 4 passes, but one of them went like 60 yards for a touchdown. So it was like, doesn't matter. I think I would rather gamble on his ability with the ball in his hands than either of these guys. I'm still going Waddle here.
Yeah, in this case with these players, as down as I am on Waddle, I would still go Waddle because Pittman, and you saw, were you the one who posted that stat about Pittman with 100 catches? Somebody did.
Yeah, I did.
You did, all right. Okay, what was it? So he might be, out of all receivers with 100 receptions, he'll have the fewest yards doing so. Was that it?
Yeah, in the modern era, yes.
Modern era. So, I mean, he's getting catches, but there's not a lot with it. And so he's the ultimate floor only play. And it's not his fault. Look, and you know what? I feel like we were stumping for Pittman all offseason last year. I feel like we're going to spend all this offseason like defending him. People were like, man, he was joking. It was like, it wasn't his fault. I mean, it's his fault that he had to catch pass from Sam Ehlinger, and then for one game, Nick Foles and Matt Ryan on his back half of the year. I mean, it's like Pittman should be a stud receiver. But anyways, in this case, I'll go Waddle. So that was my rant. Okay, let's get back to the Masked Bandit because now we got a different situation. He forgot he's got Garrett Wilson with Joe Flacco. So now, do you like DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson?
This is close.
I mean,
I don't know.
Wilson.
I think I still go DJ Moore just because we've seen it at least the last few games with Sam Darnold. That connection there is there. I mean, we haven't seen Joe Flacco since what, like week 4, whatever, week 3 or week 4. I mean, I know Garrett Wilson was playing well with Joe Flacco, but he's playing well with Mike White too, and look how that turned out recently here, right?
Yeah, that's the thing is for me, I feel like, I don't know. Mike White, obviously not healthy. He's been playing through was like 5 cracked ribs. And I mean, come on. Mike White for now 2 years in a row was good for exactly 1 game. Let's not make White to be out to, some guy who, is like the savior. I kind of feel better about Wilson with Flacco, to be honest. I don't know if I would put him over DJ Moore because I still feel pretty good about Moore. I mean, you're taking a risk. I do feel like Wilson has a higher ceiling, but I think I'd keep Moore in there. Is that the way you're going?
Yeah, simply because, like I said, we've seen like the last few weeks with Darnold, at least that connection is there. I'm not banking on this Flacco Wilson connection from 14 weeks ago or whatever it was.
Yeah. I mean, I think Wilson is playable, but yes. I won't put him over Moore. Yeah. Chris Miller wants to know Goff, Rodgers, or Brady? Interesting question.
I think I got to go Rodgers, and I don't love Rodgers this week because Rodgers, like, what is Rodgers' ceiling? I mean, even last week in a smash matchup against the Vikings, what do you have? Like a 1 touchdown and 180 yards or something? Like, but I don't know how much Brady is going to play, and I really don't like Goff on the other side going against this Packers defense that is just on fire right now. So I think I'm going to go Rodgers here.
I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers is not the guy you want in there because, and I'm pulling up his stats. Let me just tell you. I'll go reverse order. Last week in an absolute smash spot against Minnesota, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay, and they say, well, they got up big, right? They had that pick 6 and they had that kickoff return or whatever. Okay, let's keep going back. 238 yards and a touchdown, 229 yards and a touchdown, 182 yards and a touchdown. He's only thrown for more than 2 touchdowns once all season. And this is a game that you think might be high scoring, but it probably won't be because they're going to run the ball. They're going to play defense, everything I keep saying. But I still like him better than Goff. So the question is, do I think Tom Brady can outscore Aaron Rodgers in however long he plays? I think I kind of do, because I think Tom Brady is the kind of guy that even if they sit Fournette and they might sit Evans at halftime, I think Brady will stay in there long enough because, like, what else he's going to do on the bench? He doesn't want to sit on the bench. He doesn't care about anything at this point other than football and his kids. But I'm going to go with Tom Brady and just say, why not? Because Rodgers, I don't feel like he has the ceiling. I really don't.
No, he definitely doesn't. But I feel like, like what if Brady only plays a quarter or something like that? Because Brady shouldn't play at all. Like, he shouldn't play at all. Like, Brady shouldn't. Like, there's no reason for. Like, is Brady like, hey, if I miss a week, I'm gonna get rusty? Like, why is Brady playing in this game? Like,
why? Look, he's 45 years. He's like the same age as us. Why is he in the NFL still? Why is he playing at all? Like, what are you doing, man? He just lost anyways, he will do that because that's how he is. Because he's crazy. I remember this talk about fun last week of the season memories. It was like 3-4 years ago, and the Patriots were like the number 1 seed, and we're like, the Patriots, they're going to sit everybody. Like, they have nothing to play for. And Tom Brady played the entire game for no reason, and they were playing like the Jets, who back then were terrible. And for no reason, and he went out and threw for like 4 touchdowns. I'm like, what the? That's Tom Brady. So for me, why not? Okay, let's get to Don. Don wants to know: sitting Mike Williams, starting DJ Moore. I think that's smart. Need another receiver. We have Never Dortch. That's what I'm going to call him for now. Debo. Don't know if Debo's going to play, or Olave.
Definitely not Dortch.
Is Debo going to play? That's the question. Like, actually play.
Well, he's
With
playing.
meaningful snaps.
Yeah, that's the thing. How much? How healthy is he? Is he going to play all the snaps? But I mean, Olave, like, what is the upside with Olave these days? Like, it's only playing like 60% of the snaps. They're just playing this like extremely vanilla offense where they either run the ball with Alvin Kamara or they run the ball with Taysom Hill, or it's like, okay, it's 3rd and long. I guess we'll throw the ball. And then they just go back to this vanilla offense. They're not. I don't know. I think I would gamble on Debo because at least Debo has a good matchup, and if nothing else, they'll want to get him involved. They'll want to get him involved in some screens and things like that. Some easy plays probably to get his legs up back underneath him a little bit before the playoffs. I just don't see a ceiling for Olave right now, so I'm gonna go Debo.
Yeah, I would say if you can, and we'll try to put stuff out there. I don't know, Don, if you're in the Discord or not, but we'll keep a close eye. I want to know exactly how they plan to use Debo. If they say, of course, it's Shanahan, he probably won't say anything. But maybe beat reporters kind of have a feel for this. Is he really just gonna be a decoy? Is he just gonna go out there for a few plays and that's it? If you feel like he's gonna actually play a good amount of the game, might as well roll with Debo. If it kind of sounds like he's really not going to play, then I would just go Olave.
Well, yeah.
You'd think they want him to get out there and get some reps, right? And then he's not even on the injury report at all. He's not questionable.
Yeah, I think he'll play a decent amount. Like I said, they at least want to go out there, get his legs back under him, get some contact before they head into the playoffs.
Yeah,
I would think.
So you can't feel great about Debo, but you can't feel great about any of these choices necessarily either. So yeah, we'll both say go with Debo. All right, what about this one from Chris? Can too. McKinnon or Swift?
Well, I think you got to go McKinnon. I mean, we talked about it. Talked about it with Swift. I just feel like Justin Jackson's healthy. Yeah, they're going to force feed Jamal. They're going to be in this must-win game. They're going to be losing. They're going to be trying to come from behind. And they're going to be dumping it off to like Justin Jackson and Jamal Williams. DeAndre Swift's going to come out every so often. They'll throw it to him. He'll run for he'll catch a swing pass for 25 yards, and then he'll go sit out for 20 plays because we don't want that. We don't want that guy on the field. So McKinnon's been on fire. It's the Raiders. He should continue to be on fire. I'm going McKinnon.
Got to go with McKinnon. There is some question of the Chiefs, how long they'll play their guys. They still have now something to play for. And McKinnon is not a guy who really even has shown that he needs a lot of touches. He's scoring touchdowns every game. So, yeah, go McKinnon. And we kind of talked about this earlier. Alberto Alvarado, start Cousins or stream another quarterback. I mean, depends on your options. But if you can stream somebody who's decent that is playing, and by decent, I don't necessarily mean Sam Howell, but
or Nathan Peterman or any of those guys. Yeah.
No, not Nathan Peterman. But yeah, I would definitely try to go with somebody else. Barkley, probably gonna sit.
Yeah, sounds like he's gonna sit. I mean, they haven't made it official. I don't understand. This is so funny to me. Like these coaches, you're playing mind games with the Eagles. Like why? Why? Okay, fine. Play mind games with the Eagles. Like the Eagles are gonna. You think of they're gonna, if we tell them they're gonna sit Barkley and Daniel Jones, then I don't even know. I can't even make an excuse for it. It doesn't even make sense. But anyways, yeah, it sounds very likely that if he's either gonna sit or he's gonna play very, very little in this game. So either way, can't trust Barkley.
So who do you like out of that group? You got Dylan, Mostert, Madison, Bam Knight, Chase Edmonds.
I think it's got to be Dylan. I mean, he's scoring touchdowns. He's looking pretty good. He's getting involved. We talked about it. They like to run the ball. It's the Lions. I don't think they're an elite run defense all of a sudden. I think there'll be chances here for him. I think out of this group, I'm going Dillon.
Yeah, it's the Lions. It's a good spot. He's been good. He's been good even when Jones did suddenly out of nowhere get a ton of touches last week. Dillon still did something, so he's still scoring touchdowns. I'm going Dillon. The other guys are just kind of, well, very not kind of. They're very risky. And then at tight end, Chig, Komet, or Tony. Well, I guess not just tight end. Chig, Komet, Tony.
Well, I don't like Chig this week.
No.
I definitely don't like Komet this week with Peterman. I will say, Tony, I think, is worth a gamble if you're looking for a high upside, high risk play because he got a little more involved last week. I think they want, again, another guy kind of like Debo. I'm not comparing him to you. I'm just saying, like, they want to start ramping him up. I think they have plans for this guy in the playoffs, and they need to start ramping him up. So I think we could see a decent amount of Tony this week, but he's very risky, of course, very risky.
Yeah, it's one of those weeks where I'm saying, I like Jared Stidham. He's in a good spot. Like Zach Moss could go off. Kadarius Toney, play him. Like, yes. I can't like Chig or Komet because the quarterback situation, but Tony is very interesting. I mean, it's boom or bust with him, right? He could do nothing, but I think he's worth a shot this week. Richard Chavez, Stidham or Purdy? Kind of answered that question several times.
Yeah, we got Purdy slightly higher, slightly above Stidham.
And then Algier or Zay Jones in the flex?
I can't bench Algier right now. He looks great O-line, getting a ton of work. I know you say, oh, but it's the Bucks, but I mean, we could see the Bucks. I think they've already. In fact, is Vita Vea even playing? Did I see something where he might be out this week?
That's the thing. We talk about their offensive players, but again, if there's a team resting their players on defense, that is something worth knowing for the other team. I don't know about Vea specifically. I know he was hurt 2 weeks ago and he didn't play, so there's a good chance they rest him.
Yeah, and even if he plays, I mean, they could be resting their defensive starters in the second half. I think you got to keep rolling with Algier. He's been too good.
I mean, it's a floor ceiling thing. Zay Jones could have a big game. We've seen him do it before, and it's such a great matchup. But you're risking those points. I mean, you don't know. You never know with the Jags, especially receivers. So if you want to go for the big game, you go Zay Jones. If you want the sure double digits, just go with Algier. Okay, some interesting questions here. To go back to Chris, Cam 2. Pick 2, we got Justin Jefferson. I haven't talked about him yet. Justin Jefferson, Godwin, Debo, Pittman, and Gallup.
Oh, man.
Do you sit Justin Jefferson?
I mean, again, you're gonna have to really try to pay attention to what. Let me look it up. I know Kevin O'Connell said something today.
And as usual, like coaches, it was like real vague and all right, that's what I love. Questions like this. Is it Justin Jefferson or KJ Osborne? That's a legit question only in week 18.
Yeah. Yes. I mean in that case, I would just go with Jefferson because if I think, if they're gonna rest their starters, they might rest Osborne too. But here, let's see what O'Connell said.
Your regular starters for the most part in this game. We're going to go into the game with we've got a pretty clear-cut plan of how we want to go about the whole game. But we're going to go in with the expectation of our guys going and trying to get off to a good start, play good football. That's what we want to do. We've had a good week of preparation, and then we're going to be aware of not only what we want to do from a standpoint of maybe getting some other guys some snaps here and there, but it's really something we spent some time talking about as a staff, and we've got a good plan. What we do at center is great man's.
Yeah, so that doesn't sound like we're going to play our starters the whole game kind of guy, right? So
no.
So going to the Jefferson Osborne one, I'd rather just start Jefferson because if they both play the same amount, I feel like Jefferson will do more than Osborne. Now this one's tougher. Oh man. And Godwin, how much Godwin are we going to see?
How much Debo?
Debo, I kind of feel okay because again, at least I feel like Debo, they want to get him involved, and they'll probably like will call design runs for him, design screens for him, because like I said, they probably want to get him the ball, get him some contact, before the playoffs. So I kind of feel okay about Debo. I mean, Pittman and Gallup, like how good can you ever feel about those guys? Like you just can't.
Nah, Gallup's not playable.
Oh.
Got to pick 2.
I don't know. Maybe I still go Jefferson, and I just hope that like they say, okay, let's force feed him early, and if he's on, like if he's going crazy, and maybe there's a chance that he can catch Calvin Johnson, maybe they'll give him that chance. Like right, if he goes out there first series, catches 3 passes, and already has like 50 or 60 yards, maybe they're like, well, maybe we can get him the record by halftime or something, or third quarter, and then we can sit him. I guess I go Jefferson and Debo, but man, this is really hard. Honestly, this is really hard.
And it's funny because you heard what he said. He's like, "Oh, we can get some other guys some snaps." Like, okay, so you basically just told us the starters are sitting after either first or second. That's the question: after the second quarter or after the first quarter?
Yeah,
we want to get off to a good start. Okay, translation: the starters will be starting, and then at some point they'll sit. So, is it do you go for whatever Justin Jefferson gives you in the first quarter, possibly second quarter, or do you go for whatever Chris Godwin might give you in the first or second quarter? I would go Jefferson too, and then Debo is the one you feel best about. All right, so we also have to pick 3 running backs here: Eckler, Mixon, K9, Bam, or Chuba.
Well, at least 2 of these guys are easy. I can definitely go Mixon and Walker. Mixon, they're going to play hard the whole game. They got to win. Seattle in a must win. They're going to play hard. He's going to, and I think for the first time in a while, he's not even on the injury report. So that's good to see. Talking about Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Now it gets tough because, again, I just don't think we're going to see much, if any, Eckler. I mean, Bam Knight, like what has he done the last 2 games? He's not even getting touches anymore. Like he's not even getting. You can't even say he's the lead back. He's not. It's like Ty Johnson got more touches than Bam Knight last week. Maybe in this case I go Chuba, and I hope that I do think the Panthers will play hard. They'll try to win that last game, like you said earlier. So I'm gonna go Mixon, Walker, and Chuba.
And Chuba is kind of interesting to me. Again, we're taking a chance here, but it's week 18. Well, you don't have a choice, right? Because if you're considering whether you should start Eckler or not, you have to take chances. But I think I saw Deontay Foreman was limited in practice. He's the guy I could see them resting, not because they're resting for the playoffs, but because obviously an Achilles guy from a couple years ago, physical back. They might just want to limit his touches. Chuba is a guy who has some burst. He can make some plays. It's not a terrible matchup. So Chuba, I think, is definitely overnight for me. If you're worried about Eckler not playing, that's the 3rd pick I would have. Then we got Super Chat from Blake Gold. Thank you, Blake.
Thank you.
So we got to pick 2 here: Cooper, Kamara, Akers, Jeff Wilson, or London.
This one feels pretty easy to me. I'm going Cooper and Akers. Kamara, I mean, just what are we getting? What are we getting from Kamara these days? Like, it feels like, it honestly feels like the end for Kamara. I mean, for real. Like, he's going to be a free agent. Who knows if anybody's, and he's probably going to be facing maybe jail time, but at minimum, a lengthy suspension. Like, is he even going to get signed in free agency? And if he does, like, what is a team going to give him, like, the minimum? Like, our team's going to even be willing to sign this guy in free agency? He's looked terrible. This is 2 years in a row. Last year, look, I said Alvin Kamara looks terrible, and everybody said, it's his knee. Well, you can't blame the knee this year. He just looks terrible again. He just looks terrible. Anyways, that was my Kamara rant real quick. So yeah, I can't. Wilson Jr. against the Jets. London's okay, but just not really enough upside for me. I think I'm gonna go Akers and Cooper.
Yeah, out of this group, Akers stands out to me as the best pick, and then Cooper pretty good too. London more of a floor play, but I'll take a chance on Cooper. So yeah, pretty easy for me too here, Akers and Cooper. And then we have George Arizmendi. There's another Kamara question. You like Kamara, Stevenson, Christian Watson, or Zay Jones?
Ooh, well, I mean, easily eliminate Kamara here. Easy. These other three are interesting, but I think I like Stevenson and Watson more than Zay, even though I do like Zay this week. Look, I know it's been a couple disappointing weeks for Watson, but it's the Lions at home. Must win for the Packers. He only played like 60% of the snaps last week. I don't think he was 100%. I think he'll be healthier this week. He'll play more. He's got that week winning upside to me. Stevenson got less carries than Damian Harris last week. Harris was healthy. I don't know if Stevenson's healthy. I'm going Christian Watson.
Yeah, I'm going Watson. For me, it's actually more between Watson and Zay. Between those two, this is full PPR. Stevenson, you cannot love because getting less usage, not a good matchup for him either. Let's take a shot on Watson here. Zay could have a big game. He's a little more volume dependent. Obviously, he's going to need to get those targets, which he very well could, but it's not guaranteed. It could be a Christian Kirk week. Watson, he just needs a few. And it's such a good spot against Detroit. So, yeah, I'll go with Watson. And then, you know what? After the season's over, of course, you got playoffs and all that. But then we have the long off season. There's not any football to watch. You know what the best family-friendly movie is that you could watch while you're waiting for the NFL season?
Over and over, you can watch Shrek 2 on DVD.
That is correct. Dion, are we talking Deion Jackson? You cannot flex
Deion Sanders.
Deion, hey, you could watch that too. What's that show called? The Deion Sanders documentary. That looks interesting. Deion Jackson doesn't even play anymore, does he?
No, I don't think you can go Deion Jackson. Like, he barely touches the ball. I do think we'll see a decent amount of Rachaad White because, again, I think they want to keep Fournette healthy. He's young. He's a rookie. I don't think they're as worried about him. I think we'll see a decent amount of Rachaad. I know Rachaad White will get more touches than Deion Jackson. That's for sure.
Yes, definitely. And then here's that question again: JJ or KJ?
Well, in this case, again, I'll just go with Jefferson, and I'll hope that at least their game plan early is to especially coming off a game like that, force feed them. It's the Bears. They're missing their top two corners. Even if they wanted to, even if they're like, we're going to defend them just like the Packers did, they can't. They just can't. So I'll gamble on Justin Jefferson putting up, some decent points for however long he's in there over KJ Osborne.
Yeah, because again, we say this if you weren't with us earlier, if KJ Osborne does play a lot because Jefferson and Thielen are sitting, that probably means Cousins is sitting too. And so he's catching passes. But I think somebody said it was like Nick Mullins is their quarterback now. Okay, fine. But no, I'll go JJ. All right, Josh got a question here. Another Justin Jefferson question here. Full PPR, need 2 running backs, receivers, and 1 flex. So you got Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Brandon Ayuk. And then at running back, you got McKinnon, Sanders, Walker, Etienne, and then there's Olave.
Well, at wide receiver, you got to start Jamar Chase this week. They're playing to win. He's going to play the whole game. Not worried about him one bit. You got to start Chase at wide receiver. For running back, I'm going. Walker is the obvious one here to me. Because, again, Seattle must win. He's off the injury report. He's going to get a ton of work. And then it gets close here to the second running back.
It's tough. Those are all pretty solid options. Look, Sanders, I know Miles Sanders hasn't done much lately, but he's going to get the Giants, who are going to rest a lot of their players. This could be one of those Sanders weeks, but
we say that every week. We say that every week, and then he has 2 carries at the half or something, right? He gets 11 carries the whole game. Where was Miles Sanders? That's the thing. You just never know. It should be a Miles. Last week should have been a Miles Sanders week. The week before should have been a Miles Sanders week, and they're just not. And it's yeah, I don't know. He's so hard to trust. But Etienne's in a tough spot this week. McKinnon's been on fire. Can we really bench McKinnon? I know he's not getting a ton of work, but man.
And it's odd because you have really good receivers, but it's full PPR. I almost might want to flex one of these running backs, but no, we need 2 running backs, and I think we need 2 receivers also. This says 2 / that's the way I'm interpreting it.
Okay, well I'll go Chase and Watson at wide receiver, and I'll go Walker for sure at running back.
It's like McKinnon or Etienne. I think McKinnon. I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
I think you got to go McKinnon. I guess he's just like you can't bench him right now. I guess you got to go McKinnon. And then do I flex Ayuk over Etienne? Ayuk's coming off a big game, but now Debo's back. How much will they really need to throw in this game? Like, are they just going to be routing them by the third quarter? Probably.
I mean, I do think in full PPR and with a bad matchup, you probably can't flex Etienne over those guys. Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk, it's between those 2 for me. I mean, maybe I'm a little too optimistic still on Wilson because I was kind of optimistic last week and didn't do much. So
I don't know. Yeah. I think it was between those 2. I'm going Ayuk, but
yeah, I mean, look, San Francisco does still have something to play for, and so I probably should just go Ayuk. I mean, it's such a good matchup for him too. Arizona's rolled over basically.
Yeah, so Arizona's basically rolled over.
Yeah. All right, so start Chase and Watson, flex Ayuk, and then a running back start McKinnon and Walker.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
And just a reminder, it's week 18. You're going to have Justin Jefferson on your bench.
Yes.
Just remember that next year before your league starts up again and your commissioner does the settings, just remind him.
Yeah.
The best if we play the championship week 17. All right, here's an interesting question from Eric. What's the risk level starting Jordan Mason in my flex? Thinking McCaffrey might not play much?
No, I think this is very risky because again, the 49ers are playing to win. I mean, worst case, they get the number 2 seed. Best case, they could get the number 1 seed. But even the number 2 seed has its benefits. You get home games in the first 2 rounds. And again, if the Eagles, let's say the Eagles get knocked off by the Cowboys or the Packers or something, right? Now you get a home game in the NFC Championship game as well. So I think that 49ers are going to play hard. They're going to play to win. I don't think we see a lot of Jordan Mason. I mean, you're really banking on Jordan Mason. What do you have, like 2 touches last week? It's like, okay, yeah, he took one of them for a touchdown, but you really are gambling on that. I think it's too risky.
Yeah, way too risky here. You're better off. Assume you probably can get a guy like Jonathan Williams off of waivers.
Yeah.
Because probably nobody else is picking him up. I'd rather play somebody like that who will get touches, even like a Jaylen Warren we talked about earlier. Yeah, Jordan Mason, too risky. Especially you're talking full PPR. Mason isn't a guy who's going to catch passes. So there's really no floor here. You're hoping he scores a touchdown. So, no, I think too much. And then let's go back to Michael. He had a question here. Goddard or Higbee?
I mean, I do like Higbee this week, but I still think you got to play Goddard, especially if Hurts plays. That definitely helps Goddard. Yeah, I know Higbee's got the better matchup, but still, I think if it's Minshew, maybe I'll go Higbee because Goddard has not been good the 2 weeks with Minshew so far. But if it's Hurts, I'll go Goddard.
It sounds like it's Hurts. I'm going Goddard. He should be fine. Eagles still will be playing, and they're going to be playing probably against some backups here.
Yeah.
Luis Barkley, Zach Moss, Latavius Murray, or Debo.
Is this PPR or non-PPR?
Well, now he's asking very specific. Now he's just asking Zach Moss or Debo for the flex.
So
I mean, like you can't play Barkley.
So he's like, I'm not starting Barkley. Well, you can't start Barkley, I don't think, sadly.
Yeah.
Murray is actually kind of interesting this week because the Chargers may be resting players. the Broncos are going to play hard and try to get a win, to end the season at least on a decent note, right? They're going to play hard. They're going to try to win. So he says PPR. Am I playing Moss or Murray over Debo? That's my question here. I mean, I know we like Moss because it's Houston, but also it's Zach Moss and the Colts. So it's not, you can't get like super excited about him.
And look, other thing, like if he scores, he's got a good chance to score a touchdown. Like, he hasn't scored a touchdown all year.
Right.
If he doesn't score a touchdown, which again, he hasn't all year, and he's going to get you maybe 70, 80 yards rushing. So in a PPR league, you're getting 7 or 8 points. So if Debo, again, hearing that he's going to actually play, not just be limited, let's just go with Debo.
Yeah, he probably has the most upside, and it's PPR. So yeah, I go with Debo.
All right, week 18, man, week 18. So obviously, not everyone's got their league on the line. Just a couple of reminders here, guys, because we won't go our full time. A lot of you already have your season ended. We don't stop. All right, so after this week, we still did just start sit. We're still with you to help for those who are playing in week 18. But as soon as the actual regular season is over, we're looking ahead. We've already started. You're going to see videos coming out already. Look into next season. Early drafters, people who just like to do research early, if you're doing best ball. So stick with us. If you haven't hit subscribe already, do that. Notification bell will tell you when we are live for our mock drafts, which we're already planning. We'll be mocking multiple times per week, and you can actually join and draft with us. But you need to be in the Discord because that's where the announcements are going to go out. And trust me, they fill fast. They fill so fast that sometimes I can't even get the draft myself because as soon as Chris posts the link, it's filled up. And I'm like, oh, well, that's fine. I can sit this one out. But yeah, if you want to actually draft with us, and we'll do some of these live online right here with you, just like we do these shows. So instead of start sit shows like this, we'll be drafting live online. So join the Discord. Link is in the description below. And you can also join us for extra. We also do drafts just with our patrons. So if you are interested in that, check out patreon.com/fantasyfootballendgame. All right, let's do a couple more here. Get some more of these questions. Let's see if we can find some guys. And then actually, I was going to mention this about Elijah Mitchell.
Right.
He's been cleared to return, but I don't think, is he actually going to play this week?
I think so. And that's another good point to Eric's question about Jordan Mason. Yeah, Jordan Mason may not be the number 2 anymore. Anyway, so yeah, definitely too risky with Jordan Mason. Definitely. I forgot about Elijah Mitchell.
How can you forget Elijah Mitchell? I mean, he's played all of 2 games this year? No. Yeah, Jordan Mason way too risky already, especially Debo also coming back.
Yeah,
I wonder if they'll get him some carries.
Yeah, gotta think they will.
Let's see if there's anybody we haven't talked about.
What about this one? I don't think we've talked about either of these guys yet.
So Schultz or Waller. So Cowboys are kind of in that weird in-between position. Like they sort of could have something to play for, but maybe not. I mean, I think they'll still try to win. They're going against Washington, which is really not. So I think I'd still feel better about Schultz.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup for Schultz, but I do think the Cowboys will try to win. I mean, the Cowboys do have an outside shot at the number 1 or number 2 seed. I think if they win and the Eagles and the 49ers lose, they're the number 1 seed. But I think also if they win and the 49ers lose, or maybe if the 49ers if the 49ers or the Eagles lose, if one of those teams lose, I think they get the number 2 seed, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, though. So I think they will play hard. Plus, it's Washington. They always want to beat Washington. But yeah, I guess you probably got to go Schultz.
I mean, really, Washington is technically not supposed to be a good matchup for tight ends, but this week, I think it's fine. So
yeah, true.
I'm gonna go Schultz. I know Waller, it could be fine, but I'd rather trust Schultz. And then do have one more super chat. Just came in from
Thank you.
CB. All right, so we got quarterback Dak, need to set the rest of the lineup 2, 2, and 1. King Henry is obviously a lock. He could carry your team to a championship by himself this week. Kenneth Walker, Algier, AJ Dillon, Moss, Christian Watson, London, Godwin, Sutton, Lazard, Dotson. Okay.
All right. Well, running back for me is easy. I'm going Henry and Walker.
Yeah.
Wide receivers a little tougher. Yeah, wide receivers a little tougher. I mean, I like Christian Watson. I guess I got to go London at the 2, or do I think Godwin can do more damage against the Falcons in a half-ish than London can in a full game? It's because I don't know what the upside is for London.
And it's a PPR league, and I think most weeks would say you're probably going to flex one of these receivers. But looking at the options, I don't think I am.
I don't think I am either.
Yeah, not this group with this week. I mean, well, normally Godwin would be no doubt. You don't have to think about it. So, I mean, Henry and Walker, no, like for sure. Yes. Watson, and one of those guys. So. London for floor. Looking at the rest of your squad. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might just go London.
Yeah, because at least we know he's going to play the whole game. We don't know how much Godwin will play. And then I think I'm going to flex Algier. It's because, again, those wide receivers, I mean, maybe you could talk me into Godwin and PPR, but again, very risky. Sutton, Lazard, Dotson, no way. I do kind of like AJ Dillon this week, but if he doesn't score, I'm not sure what you're going to get. Same with Moss. Algier's been so good. We know he's getting 18 plus carries, and he's actually been catching some passes too recently, which is nice. So I think I'm flexing Algier.
Yeah, at flex, it's either Algier or Dillon. I kind of like them both, but I mean, Dillon's been scoring, right? He's been scoring, and he definitely has a great matchup. It's just Detroit, and they're at home. But you've got to feel better about, I keep saying this. I'm leaning towards the guy who I feel is going to get the more volume. Algier is going to get the volume over Dillon because Dillon's technically the 1B. Tampa Bay might rest defenders. I think, am I right? Is Atlanta at home this week? I think it's in Atlanta.
Yeah, in Atlanta at home.
And a surprising stat, and look, I keep bringing this up because a lot of people just don't realize why is Atlanta keep running the ball well because they don't have a good quarterback, but also because they can. They've got one of the better offensive lines in the league. They had, what was it, top 5 offensive rating out of all NFL teams this year. Why? Because they can run the ball. So I'll go Algier. I like Dillon, but I like Algier a little bit better. And then I think I go London just because Godwin is kind of a big wild card here.
Exactly.
But you're probably going to see Derrick Henry get 50 points, so you'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, then we got one more from Shrek 2, still on DVD. We'll be switching to Dynasty for the first time. All right, I'm glad you mentioned that. We don't talk enough Dynasty here. What do you think generally about Dynasty?
Yeah, I love Dynasty. It's great. It's a great way to stay involved all season long. And it's a great way to have exposure to more players that you normally wouldn't have in a season-long league, especially more fringy players. But you really need to know, you really want to keep up on all the players because a lot of trading in Dynasty, hopefully, if you have an active league, which makes it more fun, a lot of trading. You got to keep up on the rookies. It just really is a good way to keep you, like I said, involved all year long. And it's a lot of fun. It's different, and in redraft, the thing about one of the benefits of redraft is if your team's terrible, you say, oh, well, next year. But one of the downsides is if it's week 6 and you're out of it, your season's already over. If it's week 10 and you're limited, whereas in Dynasty, you can say, okay, fine. Let me start making moves to try to position myself. Maybe I need to sell off some older studs like Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, those kind of guys, and get picks and now start trying to rebuild. So you're always, even if you're not competitive, you're still competitive. You're still trying. You're always involved. So definitely love Dynasty. It's a great format.
I love Dynasty as well. I mean, we probably need some more Dynasty leagues. But anyways, the thing is, it's obviously a little more of an investment. You have to be able to keep up with your team, not just during the season, but then, you have a rookie draft. You have to know a little bit more about that incoming rookie class because you have to pick rookies. I mean, unless you just trade away all your draft picks like the Rams. But you have more ownership over that team because it's your team and it stays with you and those players. So you kind of feel more invested, and so I enjoy it more. But yeah, as long as you have the time to keep up with it. Yeah. And you're never really out of it long term because you can always trade away players. So love Dynasty. All right. Speaking of staying with us all off season, I think we're going to cut it here. We don't have too many more start sit questions for being week 18. But guys, as I've said, join the Discord, see what's going on with us. We're putting out fantasy content all off season long. Thank you for a great season. But again, ready for next year. Congrats to everyone who brought home titles. And for those who are still fighting week 18, good luck.